Shocking Commanders update. Things just took a sickening turn. You know what we're going to be talking about. You see the pictures. You've read the headlines. We will be discussing the events that have happened with Scary Terry and the Washington Commanders are getting a new deal done. I'm your host, Azael Mejia, with Commander Digest, reporting everything all Washington Commanders, off-season, regular season, and everything between. So if you want to be caught up to date, everything Commander, make sure to run it up. You know, the run it ups are not there. You know why they're not right there? Because a deal has not been done with Scary Terry and the Commanders. We talked about it in our last video regarding this contract situation. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it after this one. But there was common ground that was met with AP and gang, Adam Peters and the squad, and Scary Terry's team. Common ground. A deal was in the mix. It was in the works. We were like, okay, then a deal gonna be in the work. They're gonna be cut clean. Like everything's gonna be simple. You know, no dramatic, no one acting dramatic, no one doing anything radical. Well, that's not the case anymore because Scary Terry is not showing up to minicamp, mandatory minicamp. Conversations have gone stale. We will be diving into it. We got the stats, we got the quotes. We will be breaking it down. So I got you. Sit back and enjoy the show because it's only getting crazier from here. But before we get into it, if you're a new watcher, a new visitor to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we do have a subscriber goal trying to hit 500. Yes, 500 subscribers by week 1 of the NFL season. Game 1 is in 12 weeks, so I know we can do it because everything been in the greens. Y'all have been running it up. I have to give it to y'all. Y'all have been running it up when it comes to the likes, the views, the shares. Very appreciate that. And if you're new, no, not if you're new, if you're a returning viewer, make sure you are subscribed because 87.5 of y'all watching the videos are not subscribed. That's crazy because it's for the free skis. It doesn't charge you anything and it takes like 2 seconds. So get back to the video. This was Scary Terry when he first signed. Not first signed. This is him in 2022 when he signed his extension. This is baby Scary Terry when he signed with Washington. Washington, because you see the logo. You see, oh, watch, wrong finger. You see the logo right there, and not the Commanders, and not the football team. It's Washington. I don't want to say the name because I don't want to get in trouble. But he's been with Washington the last cup when they were in the bad regime. If you remember the bad regime, if you know, you know. Bad regime. Even though he got there towards the end, it did get pretty messy. There were a lot of things said within that organization towards the end. If you know, you know. But baby Scary Terry right here when he first signed with the Commanders back in 2019, and then you have him right here now with the Commanders signing that extension. We need a part 3. We need a part 3 to this. Trying to get this deal done. We will be breaking it down. Maybe for the people who don't know, who don't remember, and who didn't watch the first video. If you did watch it, if you didn't watch it after this one. Break it down. We're gonna be hitting some common notes just for a little refresher. Scary Terry, drafted back in 2019, ends up being one of the most reliable wide receivers in the league, especially for Washington because he was able to garner. He was able to hit the benchmark of 1,000 yards in the last 5 years. That's very impressive. One of what is more impressive, doing it with 12 different quarterbacks. Yes, Scary Terry, he will be hitting his 7th season wherever he goes. Hopefully he's in the Commander's uniform. Once he laces up his boots this season, he will hit his 7th season. So he played 6 seasons in the NFL. 12 quarterbacks in 6 seasons. You know, I'm not good at the math. You know, what's the little filter where it shows all the numbers and stuff. But that's about averages out to 2 quarterbacks per season. So imagine we're trying to, you guys decide in the comments what metrics do you use, what's the most important when discussing whether to give him that big money contract. How great. Imagine him playing the last 5 years with 12 different quarterbacks and still hitting that 1,000 yards mark. That just speaks value to his work ethic, to his hustle, to his grind, willing to make it work. He's been loyal to this team. He was there towards the end of the bad regime. He played during COVID. He didn't have to resign with the Commanders. I mean, they gave him a boatload of money. Gave him a boatload of money. So I can understand that. But he didn't have to because there was other people that once the contract, other veterans, former players for Washington saying, yeah, once my contract ended, I was waiting for it to end because I got out because for the better part of 30 years, Washington was a laughingstock, bottom 16 team in the league. You already know, if you know, you know. They were in the void. But we're going to break it down, his stats. Looking at his stats right here, 17 games played, 82 receptions out of 117 out of 117 targets, 13 touchdowns, 1,098 yards, 13.4 yards per reception, 56 first downs, 65 yards per game. His longest rush was 86, height 6 feet. His age is 29. Now, this could play a big factor. We mentioned it before. He is turning 30 in September. How much of a factor did that play into the contract negotiations? Because reports are saying that a 4-year deal is out the window. It's not going to happen. So do you go for a 3-year deal and let him be a Commander for life, 33 years old? Does he retire there? Or do you sign up for 2 years, but then you have to go through contract negotiations again? And there's a whole bunch of what do the Commanders and Scary Terry come to? We won't know. But to break it down, 82 catches. That's 19th among all wide receivers. 1,098 yards. That is 15th among all wide receivers. 13 touchdowns was his career high, first of all, and that was second among all wide receivers in the league. This last year was the first time that Scary Terry recorded over 10 touchdowns. And on top of that, he earned his second Pro Bowl nomination. He earned his second All-Pro. Everything aligned. I'm trying to understand it from the perspective of AP and gang. Like, what else could he have done? What else? He had one of his best seasons, Scary Terry, last year. What else could he have done to not get your approval for that big money contract? I'm trying to see what, because arguably one of his best seasons. And it makes sense because everything aligned for the Commanders last year, revolving around quarterback, JD5, you know, rookie of the year, had one of the best seasons for a quarterback, top 15, I had to say so myself. You have GM, AP, and gang. They made smart trades. They were able to get people in. They got the wrong people out, the right people in. You go head coach Dan Quinn, offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. Everything aligned for Scary Terry and the Washington Commanders. That's why Scary Terry played great last season. That's why the Commanders played great last season. So how do you, because look, he played great throughout his whole time in Washington. There's no doubt about that. And then there's no doubt there was a reason why he played great last year, was because everything meshed well together. The foundation was there and they just built on that. But even when the foundation wasn't there, it was unstable. I was going to curse for a second, but I'm not. It was very shaky when he first started, and he was still hitting those numbers. We're going to look at some specific quotes that we were able to obtain. Ian Rappaport from NFL Network. You know, Ian always got the scoop. We're on first name basis. If you know, you know. Commander star receiver Terry McLaurin won't be attending minicamp while he continues to seek a new contract. He also skipped voluntary OTAs this offseason. This is a common, attitude, common norm among high-profile players at this point, that they're gonna skip the voluntary OTAs. They're gonna skip the mini camps because they don't want to hurt themselves while negotiating a contract. And then especially why they have the ideology is, why do I want to practice with y'all if y'all don't want to pay me yet? I'm not gonna hurt myself unless I get a new contract done, a long-term deal. It makes sense from a player's perspective. And we're going to break down, this is a common attitude from McLaurin. There is people within the Washington camp saying there's still good attitudes, there's still good morale to get this deal done, because this has been a common attitude, not a common attitude, but they've seen this before with McLaurin. We're going to break it down with this other quote we have from Doric Sam from Bleacher Report, saying McLaurin is entering the final year of the 3-year, $71 million contract extension he signed with the Commanders in 2022 and is set to make $19.6 million. He had attended voluntary OTAs until the week of May 20th, when he grew disgruntled with the negotiation for a new deal. ESPN's John Keem pointed out that he also skipped voluntary sessions and mandatory minicamp in 2022 before receiving his previous extension. Okay, W quote, W reading by me, just breaking it down. Like, so people, I'm surprised people didn't point it out, but look, I was right that in last video there was common ground being met. He was practicing with the team, and then it all stopped within that May 20th week because conversations got stale. They weren't meeting common grounds anymore. Communications was not there. But like I said, this is common. There was a common pattern with McLaurin, because he did do the same thing back in 2022 in order to get that new deal done. He skipped the voluntary sessions. He skipped mandatory minicamp. Still got the deal done. Gave him a 3-year deal. Now, do you do the same thing again? Can lightning strike twice? It is different circumstances because it is different people in the front office now. He is a little bit older. Do you give him that 4-year deal? People saying it's out the water. Do you give him another 3-year deal? The argument, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not taking nobody's side, but the argument, as we discussed in previous video, is that why would AP and gang pay you within that top 10 range if you haven't hit top 10 numbers? You know what I mean? Because 19th in catches, 15th in yards, finally one of the top 10, second in touchdowns. But how are you supposed to get top 10 stats if you don't have a top 10 quarterback? So measure it how you want. What do you consider important? What do you not consider important when it involves getting Scary Terry that new deal? Does he deserve it? Does he not? You look at different metrics. Like I said, I don't know what could have been that deciding factor on not getting him a contract or getting him that contract. What did he have to do? Because he had one of his best seasons last year and he's still not getting that. And you got to feel for him because you played your best. What else could he have done? He played his best and he's still not getting that big money contract. Conversations are, the longer this goes with AP and gang, Scary Terry, the worse it's going to get. So the fan base have put out an outroar, have come out vocally and said, give him a blank check. He deserves it. He's been loyal to this fan base from way before AP and gang were there. So he deserves it. One of the longest tenured players on the team, veteran, willing to give back. Great, has great person. There was never been off-field drama with him. He's always been a stellar wide receiver. Among everything that's gone on, there have been multiple times throughout his 6 years with the Commanders so far that he could have gave up. I'm out because this is getting ridiculous. He never did. He's always stayed loyal. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Does Scary Terry deserve that big money contract, become a Commander for life, or do you just let him walk? Do you let him walk after the season he had last year? Let me know in the comments down below. If anything breaks among the Washington atmosphere, we covered right here on the channel. I'm Azael Mejia with Commander Digest, and I'll see you in the next video.